Emmanuel Macron is meeting with Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban at tete-a-tete in Budapest, risking to be lively as there are many issues on which the two are far apart, including immigration, LGBT rights and the Executive European Commission's criticism of Hungary over democratic standards and rule of law. In Budapest for France 24, there he is, Gulliver Cragg, our correspondent in the region. Gulliver, great to see you. What is the latest you can tell us on the situation between these two men, Macron, Orban? Over to you.
Well, Emmanuel Macron is now meeting with the leaders of the whole of the Visegrad Four, that's Hungary, Poland, Slovakia and the Czech Republic. He already had his bilateral talks with Viktor Orban and also met with the leaders of the Hungarian opposition, which was pointedly a bit of a statement that he was making there by meeting with the opposition, even though he's got such a packed agenda and is only here for one day. And after that meeting with the Hungarian opposition in the French ambassador's residence, which is the building behind me, Emmanuel Macron came down and spoke to reporters, and he said very frankly that he didn't think that Hungary was going to make any progress towards resolving that dispute over the rule of law with the European Commission before the Hungarian parliamentary election next year. He said he didn't see any sign that Hungary wanted to do that, and he said that that could very well mean that Hungary won't be getting the billions of euros that it's been promised as part of the European Union's post-COVID relaunch package. So pretty strong words there from Emmanuel Macron. He also said that it would be up to the Hungarian people to choose next year. That's almost as far as a sitting president can go when they've just met with a sitting head of government in kind of endorsing the opposition to him. All that said, Emmanuel Macron and Viktor Orban have both been at pains to stress the areas in which they can cooperate, and there are a few very important areas of cooperation between France and Hungary, particularly the development of European defence and also the question of migration, where Emmanuel Macron pretty much admitted that France's position and the position of Western European countries has perhaps become a bit closer to the rather stronger line against migration taken by Viktor Orban and other Central and Eastern European countries in recent years.
Indeed, thinking of that phrase, respecting borders, that President Macron mentioned a few days ago. Gulliver, the Visegrad countries, as you say, what's the stake for them in this meeting? Are they looking for something particular from President Macron?
Well, there's kind of two halves of the Visegrad Four at the moment. There's Poland and Hungary, which are constantly in trouble with the European Commission, constantly being criticised for their abuse of the rule of law, failure to respect the separation of the judiciary from the executive. And then there's Slovakia and the Czech Republic, which don't have those problems, and the Czech Republic has a new government. I think probably the most interesting meeting will be that between Emmanuel Macron and Mateusz Morawiecki, the Polish Prime Minister, with whom he wants to talk in particular about the disciplinary chamber for judges in Poland that the European Court of Justice has ruled Poland must abolish, but which it has so far failed to do so and is having to pay fines as a result of not doing so. France, along with the European Union, wants Poland to abolish that chamber and reinstate all of the judges who have lost their jobs due to being disciplined under it. So a clear message there to the Polish Prime Minister. Perhaps a less harsh message on migration, though. Emmanuel Macron said he was also looking forward to talking to Mateusz Morawiecki about Poland's recent experience protecting its eastern border as thousands of migrants tried to cross from Belarus.
There are so many things to talk about here. Gulliver, final question to you. I mean, in your experience going across Western Europe, then to Eastern Europe, you must see the real dichotomy that there is in this continent right now, the real split and differences of opinions that there are.
Well, in Eastern or Central Europe, I guess populist governments have come to power, particularly on the back of opposition to migration, while in Western Europe, I mean, it's perhaps not as different as we might like to think. They just haven't quite won the elections. Remember, though, that whilst Fidesz, Viktor Orban's very, very xenophobic party, is in power in Hungary, and in Poland you have also a pretty xenophobic party in power, they have a small majority in terms of the popular vote. Whilst in Western European countries you have a small majority in favour of more liberal parties, but very strong opposition, ever stronger, from the likes of Marine Le Pen in France. And I mean, in Britain it's a bit of a different situation, but the Brexit vote was clearly also linked to all those kinds of issues of growing nationalistic populism, which I think is happening all over Europe.
Gulliver, as ever, thank you very much indeed for bringing that unique insight that you have onto this kind of a story. Gulliver Cragg, our correspondent there in Budapest with the Visegrad countries meeting, and importantly, of course, from our angle, Emmanuel Macron there speaking with them.